The sickle claw. The sickle claw sat on the second toe of the foot, held off the ground while walking so it stayed sharp. It swung down and forward to strike, but the curve wasn't made for slashing. It was there to hook into flesh and hold on. Scientists have a theory for how this claw worked, called raptor prey restraint. The idea is that the animal used its own weight to pin prey down, while the claw dug in and held on, more like a hawk's talon than a knife. There's real fossil proof for this too. One of the most famous fossils ever found is nicknamed the fighting dinosaurs. It shows the claw at work, stuck straight into the neck of a Protoceratops. Both animals were buried while still fighting. In the past, some scientists thought the claw was used to cut open a prey animal's stomach in one slash, but most researchers have moved away from that idea now. The tip of the claw is too round for cutting, and computer models show it wasn't strong enough for a deep slice. That's one big reason most scientists now believe the grip and hold idea instead. This claw shows up on a whole family of small and medium-sized hunters, and the best known are Velociraptor and its bigger cousin, Deinonychus. They ranged from turkey-sized to dog-sized, but the claw worked the same basic way on all of them. The long claw. Not every claw belonged to a hunter. Some of the longest claws ever found grew to almost 70 centimeters along the curve, and they belonged to animals that never hunted anything at all. No one is fully sure what this claw was for, but the two main ideas are self-defense and pulling plants toward the mouth. It may have done both. Unlike a hunting claw, it didn't need to touch anything to work. Its size alone may have been enough to scare off an attack, a warning sign more than a tool meant for a fight. The shape of the claw is also a clue. Compared to a hunting claw, this one is straighter and less curved. That fits a slow pull better than a fast strike, and leans the case toward feeding. Still, most scientists don't fully rule out defense either. The biggest version belongs to Therizinosaurus, though smaller versions of the same claw show up across its whole family of plant-eating dinosaurs. Frill horns. Two parts work together here. A pair of long horns sat above the eyes, and a wide, bony frill stuck out from the back of the skull. The horns did the damage, likely used to stab an attacking predator or to lock horns with a rival over territory or mates. The frill did two more jobs. It made the animal look bigger from far away, and it also protected the one part of the neck where a bite could actually kill. The frill wasn't always solid bone either. In several horned dinosaur species, it had large holes covered only by skin. This made the frill lighter without weakening the horns in front of it, though how much protection a thinner frill actually gave is still debated. We know it worked because the proof survived. Bite marks from a large predator have been found on Triceratops skulls, and some of them show signs of healing. That means the animal survived the attack. This combination, horns plus frill, shows up across the whole group of horned dinosaurs, but no species took it further than Triceratops. The thagomizer. A group of sharp spikes, usually 4, sat at the end of a long, bendy tail, and strong muscles in the hips and the base of the tail powered the swing. A full hit could badly hurt or even kill an attacking predator, and it was likely aimed low at the legs, where a hit would do the most damage. This isn't just a guess. A punctured tailbone from a large predator has actually been found, and the damage matches the exact shape of one of these spikes. That's rare, direct proof the weapon was used in a real fight. Like horns, these spikes were likely covered in a tough material called keratin while the animal was alive. So, the real weapon was probably longer and sharper than the bone alone shows us today. The base of the tail had extra flexible joints. This let the tail swing through a wide arc so the animal could aim its strike in more than one direction. The name itself, thagomizer, started as a joke in a newspaper comic strip, and scientists later adopted it for real. The same spikes show up across the whole family of plated, spike-tailed plant-eaters, but Stegosaurus is the one we have the best proof for. The hammer tail. The tail club turned the slowest, least useful part of the body into the part most able to break bone. A heavy, rounded club made of fused bones sat at the end of the tail. A stiff section of tail connected the club to the body and moved the force of a swing along, working like a hammer on the end of a whip. A full hit could likely break the leg bone of an attacking predator, and the muscles at the base of the tail were unusually strong. That suggests this club saw real use, and wasn't just for show. Some estimates say the club could swing fast enough to cause serious injury inside the body, even without breaking a bone outright, more like being hit by a swinging mallet than a simple shove. That much weight at the end of the tail likely came with a cost too, since the animal probably gave up some speed and quick movement in exchange for stopping power. The design didn't appear all at once either. Earlier, related armoured dinosaurs only had simple, stiff tails with no club at all, and over millions of years the weapon grew heavier and more advanced, reaching its most developed form in Ankylosaurus. The battering ram. Unlike most weapons on this list, a thick, domed skull wasn't aimed at a predator at all. It was used to compete against members of the same species, a built-in helmet and battering ram for settling fights over status, territory, and mates. In some cases, the bone forming this dome grew several inches deep. Scientists still debate whether these were full-speed, head-on crashes or slower, more controlled shoving matches, since a direct high-speed hit could seriously hurt both animals involved. If you cut the dome open, you can see layers of bone that soak up impact force instead of sending it straight to the brain, a detail that supports the idea that real repeated hits happened, not just display. The neck adds another question here, since the head would need to be fully lowered to line up a direct hit. The comparison people use most is modern bighorn sheep, since they face this exact same trade-off today. Several related species had a version of this dome, just at different thicknesses, but Pachycephalosaurus pushed it to the most extreme size. Razor-sharp teeth. Teeth are the most common weapon on this list, but teeth isn't really one weapon. There's really at least 4 different types, and they rarely showed up together in the same animal. Unlike mammal teeth, dinosaur teeth kept growing back throughout life, so a worn or broken tooth was rarely a real problem, no matter which type we're talking about. The crushing version used a deep, strong skull and teeth almost as thick as a banana, made to drive straight through bone instead of around it. Bite force estimates for this version are among the strongest ever measured in a land animal, roughly the same force as being hit by a small car, and tooth marks found stuck inside other dinosaurs' bones back this up. This is the version most linked to Tyrannosaurus rex. The slicing version used a longer, narrower skull lined with blade-like jagged teeth. Think steak knife, not sledgehammer. It favoured repeated cuts over one killing blow. The jagged edges matter too. Slicing specialists like this one tend to have finer, more tightly packed ridges along the tooth's edge than crushing specialists do, and scientists use this difference to guess how well a species could cut through flesh. Giganotosaurus used this version in the most brutal way, likely as part of a group attack on prey too big for one animal to handle alone. A third version relied on repeated hits instead of raw power, using a lighter skull that swung almost like a hatchet. The animal would strike, back off, then strike again, wearing its prey down over time. Allosaurus used this version to hunt prey many times its own size. The fourth version wasn't made to crush or slice at all. Long, narrow jaws held cone-shaped teeth, similar to a crocodile's, and their only job was to grip something slippery and never let go, a bite made for catching fish rather than fighting other predators. Spinosaurus used this version for hunting in and around rivers. Speed. Not every weapon on this list needed contact to work. Speed worked by skipping the fight entirely, closing the distance on prey too fast for it to react, or simply outrunning anything bigger. Speed meant redesigning the whole body, not just one part. Smaller front legs cut down on extra weight, long, powerful back legs did the work, and a light skull helped too. Often a stiff tail helped the animal balance during sharp turns at full speed. Long, springy tendons in the lower leg likely stored energy with each step, then released it, the same trick that lets modern ostriches run so efficiently despite their size. It's hard to know exact top speeds. Scientists get different answers depending on whether they study bone strength, muscle size, or footprints left behind, and those methods don't always agree. Among large predators, Carnotaurus shows this design pushed to the extreme, but the real speed champions of the dinosaur world were smaller, ostrich-like animals called ornithomimids. Their whole bodies centered on one thing, outrunning everything around them. The swarm. This last weapon isn't physical at all, and it's the most argued about entry on this list. The idea is simple. One predator has limits no matter how well armed it is, but a group working together can take down prey that no single animal could manage alone. Many claws and bites become one big, repeated attack. When it happened, it probably didn't look like a perfectly timed ambush, but more like a group wearing prey down over time. A few animals would strike, then back off, while others kept the hurt target from escaping, so the prey would slowly wear down instead of falling all at once. The strongest case for this comes from a fossil site, where several Deinonychus skeletons were found next to a Tenontosaurus, many times their size. A similar case has been made for Giganotosaurus, where a group working together may have brought down prey that no single animal could handle. Even large tyrannosaurs are part of this debate. Several members of the feathered tyrannosaur relative Yutyrannus were found together at one site. Some researchers see this as a sign that group behavior was more common among hunting dinosaurs than once thought.